Story 1: Shadows of the Earth. Once upon a time, in a post-apocalyptic future, Earth lay devastated by nuclear war. The remaining survivors had gathered in a space station called the Ark. However, resources dwindled, and the leaders of the Ark decided to send 100 young delinquents to Earth to check if it was habitable again. Bellamy, Clark, Octavia, and others landed on Earth with the hope of starting afresh. However, something was amiss. Upon arrival, an oppressive atmosphere seemed to weigh on the dense forest surrounding them. Initially, they believed the ominous cracks in the woods were just the normal sounds of nature, but soon, shadows began to creep between the trees. Indistinct whispers floated in the air, and every night, group members felt invisible gazes fixed upon them. The first disappearances occurred among the weakest of the group. Heart-wrenching screams echoed through the night, but when others rushed, they found only blood and strange footprints in the mud. Growing increasingly suspicious, Bellamy decided to explore the depths of the forest. There, he discovered an ancient bunker hidden beneath the vegetation. The walls were adorned with strange symbols and ritualistic paintings. He understood that this place was linked to mysterious cults that had survived the apocalypse. During the night, the shadows became more aggressive. Humanoid but deformed figures emerged from the darkness, pursuing group members. Clark began hearing voices whispering her name, imploring her to join them in the darkness. Bellamy, Clark, and the others realized they were not alone on Earth. Something malevolent had survived, lurking in the shadows for generations. They decided to return to the Ark, but the shadows followed them. Nightmarish visions haunted their dreams, and the disappearances continued. The group found itself caught between two worlds, facing an ancient and malevolent force. They had to unravel the mysteries of the post-apocalyptic Earth and resist the grasp of the darkness that persisted on the planet. Survival was no longer just a matter of resources, but also resisting the hold of the shadows that lingered on Earth. Story 2: Whispers of the Ruins. In a distant future, Earth had undergone a nuclear apocalypse, leaving behind devastated landscapes and desolate ruins. The few survivors grouped into clans, struggling for their existence in a hostile world. Among them were Clark, Bellamy, and Octavia, members of a small group seeking to explore the remotest and most dangerous areas. They heard rumors about a mysterious place hidden in the heart of the ruins, where strange shadows manifested at night. Ignoring warnings from other clans, the trio decided to venture into this forgotten place. As they delved into the debris, a sinister atmosphere enveloped them. Indistinct whispers floated in the air, and shadows seemed to move in the corners of their eyes. At dusk, they reached the ruins of an ancient city, once prosperous. Dilapidated buildings rose like ghosts from the past. The group discovered a large square with a strange statue at its center. Its eyes seemed to follow their every move. As night fell, footsteps echoed through the deserted streets. The shadows of the building seemed to come to life, dancing in a supernatural manner. Clark began to feel an indefinable presence that chilled her to the bone. Bellamy, usually brave, admitted he felt observed, as if invisible eyes were scrutinizing their group. Octavia, more intuitive, sensed that something much older and malevolent inhabited these places. As they prepared to leave the ruins, a mysterious voice rose in the darkness. It spoke in an ancient language, uttering warnings of doom. The three companions were petrified, unable to discern where the voice came from. Swirling shadows materialized, taking ethereal forms. Clark, Bellamy, and Octavia felt trapped, caught between the past and the present. The ruins seemed to come alive, revealing the remnants of an ancient world where unknown forces had left their mark. Terrified, the group fled the ruins, but the whispers persisted in their minds. Clark began to have visions, flashes of the lost city's past. The shadows had touched them in an indelible way. Back in their camp, they shared their experience, but no one could explain the whispers of the ruins. The legend of the cursed city spread, warning other clans never to venture into the shadows of the remnants of a lost world. Story 3: Howls of the Earth. Several generations after the nuclear catastrophe, humanity's last survivors lived in space aboard a space station called the Ark. However, the Ark's resources were rapidly depleting, forcing leaders to make a radical decision. They decided to send 100 young delinquents to Earth to determine if the planet was habitable again. These youths, condemned for minor crimes, found themselves in a wild and mysterious world facing dangers far greater than they expected. Bellamy, Clark, Octavia, and the other youths landed on Earth, hoping to find refuge in the ruins of the ancient civilization. The first days were challenging, but they soon discovered a lush valley that seemed untouched. However, the tranquility of the valley was deceptive. Strange howls resonated through the forest at night. Initially, the 100 thought it might be wild animals, but they began to notice patterns in these cries, as if they were deliberate calls. One by one, group members started to disappear. Strange and indistinct footprints surrounded the camp every morning. Bellamy, now the default leader, tried to maintain calm, but terror grew among them. One evening, Clark decided to follow the howls into the darkness. She ventured into the forest, ignoring her companion's warnings. The further she went, the more unbearable the cries became. They seemed to emanate from an ancient underground facility. Clark discovered a concealed entrance in the forest floor. Metal stairs descended into darkness. She couldn't resist the temptation to uncover the source of the howls, and ventured into the depths. As she descended, inhuman murmurs filled the air. Clark found a strange room where shadows seemed to dance. In the center, a dark and deformed entity emitted unintelligible sounds. The entity turned toward Clark, revealing eyes without pupils. It communicated with her telepathically, explaining that it was an ancient force linked to the Earth itself. The howls were a plea for help against intruders. The missing group members were, in fact, being held by the entity to protect Earth from any new threat. Clark realized that the young delinquents were perceived as invaders. Back at the camp, Clark shared her discovery, urging the group to leave the valley. The entity had awakened to protect them, but they were only reviving old wounds. They left the valley, leaving behind the haunting howls and mysteries of the Earth. The 100 had survived another terrifying ordeal, but they now knew that the planet they once called home was far more complex and dangerous than they had ever imagined.